right, moving on now. After no oxygen deaths and no data on agitating farmers' deaths, the centre has now said that there have been no manual scavenging deaths in India in the last 5 years. The written statement was a response by the Social Justice Ministry to questions raised in the Rajya Sabha. Now, earlier in February this year, Union Minister Ramdas Athavale had informed the Parliament that 340 people had died cleaning sewers and septic tanks. Based on a constitutional act, the government distinguishes between manual scavenging and sewer cleaning. Activists, however, have said that point out that the latter is a mere extension of the now banned practice. So that is really the difference that the government, the centre, has taken as far as this issue is concerned. Now, according to the centre's February data, Uttar Pradesh, Tamil Nadu and Delhi had reported the highest number of sewer deaths between 2015 and 2020. Mirna spoke to the members of the Safai Karamchari in Tamil Nadu who say that there's a discrepancy in the centre's data. Tamil Nadu had essentially reported 71 sewer deaths, but the centre's data shows only 43 deaths. Tamil Nadu convener for Safai Karamchari Andolan, Samuel, questioned the government's statement on relief measures for manual scavengers.
Central government are also absolutely wrong, because we the people and we the community still engaged in the septic tanks and sewage pits doing the manual scavenging. Our people are still, even today also the people are entering in the manholes. Even today people are doing that septic tank cleaning. Even today also people doing the open drains. So absolutely it was happening. But why the central government or officials and authorities are saying the lies and false data, we don't know. Because this is the casteism. They don't want to bring out our people to the situation of the manual scavenging. They don't want to make our lives to be a dignified life. They want to be as same. For the generation, our community is still doing the same. So the government has to come forward and make us to come out from the situation.
How do you see the technicality that has been used by the ministry, sir? Because when they use specifically the manual scavenging and the sewer and septic tanks deaths separately. So do you think that the government is banking on the technicality and not bringing out the real numbers?
Sir, yeah, but the manual scavenging means the ones who linked with the human excreta. Even it is a sewer line, even it is a septic tank, even it is a open defecation, even in the open drains, all the things are happening linked with the human excreta. So without human excreta, there is nothing the manual scavenging. So all the people are all died in by the link with the human excreta cleaning, whether it is septic tank, whether it is sewerage manholes, or whether it is open drains. So all the things were linked with the human excreta. While they are doing that job, that work, they had the gas was attacked them and they fell down and fell. So why that they are making the different? So by making the different, I don't know what they are earning and what they're gaining. But because of they are hiding the number of deaths, because the government or government officials hiding that our people's deaths, they are really blaming us and they don't want to come out our families, our generation from the situation of manual scavenging.
Thank you.
Let's in fact go across to Mugilan, who's joining us at this point for more details. Mugilan, obviously there is an issue with respect to one, the data itself, and secondly the definition that is being looked at for the centre to go ahead and say that there have been no manual scavenging deaths.
Definitely, we just heard from representatives of Safai Karamchari and Andolan, the Tamil Nadu chapter. They also say that most of the time, most of the cases, the central government hides behind this technicality in usage of the words that is death in manual scavenging and deaths in the septic and sewer. But what we could hear from the activists and the association is that as far as India is concerned, the manual scavenging and the septic or sewer deaths are completely there is no difference between them because the human excreta get mixed up in all the forms of drainages is what we are hearing. And with that being the case, all the deaths should be considered as manual scavenging deaths. So this is what we could hear from the activists and the associations that are working with the manual scavengings. And yes, there is a huge contradiction in the numbers, the data that has been put forth by the Social Justice and Empowerment Ministry, because as you rightly said, in the February month, the same ministry have claimed that 340 people have died in the country in last 5 years, and particularly in Tamil Nadu, 43 people have died, because we have seen Tamil Nadu have seen as a land of social justice and equality, but still the manual scavenging continues here. 43 people as per government data have died in last 5 years. But yesterday, in the answer that has been given by the same minister and same ministry, they have maintained that there was 0 deaths in last 5 years. So the activists and the associations question the logic behind the government's reply. They say that the government is trying to hide the data about the deaths which are happening in the country due to manual scavenging, and the deaths which are happening inside sewers and septic tanks. And they also accuse, because the government is vehemently denying or hiding the data, the rehabilitation schemes that have been proposed by the government is not happening or not reaching the needed people, and for generations the people who are in manual scavenging are unable to come out of it. So yes, there have been several accusations and demands that are being put forth by the activists and the associations who work for manual scavenging. They demand that the government should come straight forward when it comes to deaths regarding the manual scavenging, and there should not be any differences between manual scavenging and sewer or septic deaths.
All right, Mugilan, thank you so much for joining us with all of those details. Let me, in fact, bring in Bezwara Wilson, human rights activist who's also done a lot of work in this area and fought for those who are, who have been manual scavengers. Bezwara Wilson, thank you so much for speaking to Mirror. Now, my first question to you is this entire issue here and the way the centre has distinguished between manual scavengers and sewer deaths. What's your own perspective on it?
See, the central government and all the state governments and everybody knows very clearly that who are the manual scavengers. And definition says very clearly, a person involved or engaged to clean, carry, dispose human excreta in any manner. So if the septic tank and sewage workers, when they are entering, they are not touching the shit. So how can they dodge? How can unnecessarily they come and make such a manipulative statement? So that is another thing is one important we must understand. The same people, they only said to the parliament that 340 people died in the previous session of the parliament. And now they are coming, that is not manual scavenging. See, somebody is asking you question, how many people died due to the manual scavenging, which means it is understood that sewage and septic tank only. And including the sanitation related, you can give the data. And there are the people who died due to the COVID also. So you can give all the data to the parliament and you can take measures to stop all this. Instead of that, you are coming and manipulating the data and the definition and making the people as a fools. You can't make a fools forever.
Yes, absolutely, Bezwara Wilson. That's really the point here. On one hand, manual scavenging as a process, as a, it's not even supposed to exist any longer. We should be having no manual scavengers in this day and age. And on the other hand, you have the fact that not only do we have it, but there is no acknowledgement of their existence even, and the government trying to manipulate this data. This sort of makes it even more difficult to try and get some sort of help for manual scavengers, those who are forced to do this work at this point.
They will not get anything because the government is saying that there is no manual scavenging, which means there are no manual scavengers. So when there is no manual scavenging, there is nothing. Why you have the commission? Why you are spending the money on that? And why the government is again talking about And there is a law which has to prohibit the practice of manual scavenging. We are unable to do, no problem. You must come with the courage stating very clearly there are so many people, we want to rehabilitate, we need so much of the time. And you have to come with a package. Instead of that, you started denying the fact. So that is a completely violation. It is a human rights violation. And we must take action against the people who are making such statements. And who the bureaucrats who are misleading the minister, and how the minister can, without even checking the facts, coming onto the parliament and announcing such a statement. It is a big statement. It is not a simple statement. And I demand...
Yes, absolutely. And Bezara Wilson, before... Yes.
I demand the Prime Minister...
Yes, please go ahead.
And it is not the one person died, two people died. It is the 472 people died within the 5 years. And this year, 2021, 26 people died. So this is not a small matter. It is the life of the 26 citizens this year, 472. Together, 498. 500 around the people died. And Prime Minister keeps quiet and the minister comes and declares. What are you playing games with whose life? You are not talking about, I am not talking about the number. I am talking about the valuable life of the citizens of this country.
Yes, absolutely, Bezara Wilson. Point completely taken at this point in time. Extremely important issues that you have raised here and that need to be put forth and get answers to. Thank you so much for joining us with your perspective.